Hey everyone, this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance.
And this is Christine Shreve, founder of the Women in Garment Decoration Facebook group.
And you're listening to Threads of Change, a new kind of discussion for the printing industry.
It's time to talk about how we can inspire change. Our conversations will feature topics such as how we can build a more diverse environment at trade shows, what resources are needed to support underrepresented communities, and more.
We might be tackling some tough topics, but we're hoping you'll join us on this journey to be the change we want to see in the industry.
Come along with us. The next episode starts right now.
Welcome, everybody, to yet another amazing episode of Threads of Change. I can't believe we are already to the month of October. It feels like Christine and I just got this podcast launched, and yet here we are in the thick of it. We've had so many amazing guests, and this month's guest is, of course, no exception. We have Stuart, who's the founder and, to quote, the fucking awesome guy at Rogue Lab. The business was launched in 2019 with one mission: to set a new standard in the decorated garment industry while forging its own path. Lee has also recently become a voice for mental and physical health, sharing his personal journey and how it has not only transformed him, but his ability to run his business. So Lee, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. One of the things that just like drew me to you when we initially met was your drive and your passion for this industry. But not that long ago, I noticed on your Instagram handle that you've been sharing some other things of your journey. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But before we get into it, let's just do background. What is Rogue Lab? Who is Lee? How did everything get started?
Well, it's a long story, I guess, but to try and sum it up as best as I can, I'm a washed up professional motorcycle and snowmobile rider. And I decided that, after I quit, I tried working some normal jobs, couldn't do it after living that kind of lifestyle, decided to start a YouTube channel, putting motorcycle stunts on there, basically bankrupt myself in the process, and decided I'm going to save myself by selling t-shirts somehow. And everyone told me that was the dumbest fucking idea of all time. And it worked. And it worked well, and eventually led to me producing my own stuff and starting my own print shop, which has now been active, like I said, since 2019. We're constantly growing at an insane pace, and we are on track to be moving into a new building this time next year. We're starting a brand new build right now, much bigger, much badder, and it's going to be a spectacle when we're done. So it's been a crazy 7 years, that's for sure.
I love that. Much bigger, much badder, and a spectacle. What great words. So what was it about, you said, okay, I'm going to sell t-shirts. What was it about t-shirts that drew you in? Because I really feel like you could have gone any direction, right? You obviously had the entrepreneurial spirit. You were looking for something. What was it about t-shirts, garment printing, that really drew you in?
Well, I had spent a very long time, I think around 10, 12 years riding motorcycles and snowmobiles for a living. And during that time, I had ridden for a lot of big companies in the industry and kind of got a little bit bitten by the clothing brand bug. And this is back before social media existed and stuff. And it was much harder to start and launch a clothing brand and whatever, but I'd seen some other people do it. I had people sponsor me that had done it and so on and so forth through the years. And I always had kind of an interest in it, but just didn't have the technical skills, knowledge, know-how. And plus I was already, just going out riding and getting paid for it. So I really didn't want to do real work at that time. And then, I retired at the ripe old age of 25, 26 and got a taste of what the real world was like, working real jobs and stuff. I had dropped out of high school to turn pro. And so I've only got a 10th grade education, and it's pretty hard to find a job with one of those kind of things. So I was, working some pretty shitty jobs. I was cleaning ducts. I was doing cable guy stuff. I was doing all kinds of things that I just absolutely hated. And decided the YouTube thing was something that would possibly work for me. No one at the time had been doing what I was doing, kind of thing. There was a new movement kind of happening with people doing Harley Davidson stunts and things like that, which was really starting to blow up on the internet, but there's no one on YouTube doing it yet. And I was like, well, shit, compared to what I used to do, that's super easy. I can do that right now. So I started putting these videos out there and whatever, and gained a bit of a following. And then, it was going very, very well. But doing these things with a Harley, you break it a lot and it's very expensive and it costs a lot of money to make those videos. And I was spending twice as much as was coming back in essentially. And I just kept pushing and pushing, trying to make it work. And, I got down to the point where I was at my last $300 and then it was do or die time. And then that's when I decided I'm going to start a clothing brand. I think if I start a clothing brand, I can sell it to these people that are watching my videos and that will dig me out of this hole that I put myself in. And, crazy pipe dream type of situation. But, I just went to work, kind of figured out the very basics of the industry about where to source blanks from Adobe, like how to learn Adobe Illustrator and find a print shop to print my stuff and so on and so forth. And, just I took that last $300 I had, dumped it all on shirts and was like, all right, I got to sell these things. So I sold all of them in the first day. I was like, sweet. So I doubled down, did it again, sold them all again the first day, doubled down again, and like started actually building some bankroll up, which was cool. But along the way, all these other print shops that were making my stuff were just letting me down left, right, and center. The quality was bad. They were late all the time. The communication sucked. There was just a lot of stuff. And I've got anyone who's watched my YouTube channel before or has followed my Instagram knows my attention to detail is at a level like no other. I'm a borderline insane person when it comes to that stuff. So these people, what they were producing was just not making me happy. It was just not to my standard. And I wanted to do a real brand. I didn't want to be just like some random jack off clothing company that lasts for 2 months and goes away kind of thing. I wanted to be at the level of the big boys. And so I was doing all kinds of stuff, trying to pretend like I was this bigger brand, spray painting the boxes with my logo on it in the front lawn and stuff like that. And eventually I just got so tired of these guys failing me essentially that I was like, I got to figure out a way to do this myself. And took at the time for me, which was an insanely huge purchase because I had no money. I had like $1,000. I spent that on a Stahl's hat heat press. I was like, I'm going to make hats because I couldn't find an embroiderer worth a shit in Winnipeg, where I'm from. And so I was like, I'm going to heat press hats. I'm going to buy patches from somebody and heat press them on hats and start selling them. That started going very, very well. And then some other people started asking me like, hey, can you make hats for me or my business? Like, sweet. Yeah, no problem. I started making them for other people. And then took the money I was making from that little hat press and bought a vinyl cutter and started making stickers for people and stickers for myself, and then used that to buy a bigger heat press and bought plastisol transfers and started pressing shirts and stuff and so on. And then eventually built up enough to where I was like, all right, I'm going to do this for real. Like, we're going to burn the boats, no turning back. I'm going to go to this company that I just found on the internet out of nowhere called Ryonet, and I'm going to give them like $45,000 and build like a professional print shop in my house, even though I've never pulled a squeegee in my entire life. And I'm going to just like go back to ground zero. We're spending every dime I got to try and make this work. And that's what I did. And it thankfully worked out quite well for me.
This is a fabulous origin story. I gotta say, I love it.
Yeah. And it kind of went hand in hand with what I was doing, because I was doing the YouTube stuff at the time. And I wasn't able to kind of do the motorcycle stuff anymore because I was kind of focusing more on business and trying not to be broke and eat fucking ramen noodles every day. And so I was really putting everything I had into that and stopped making the motorcycle videos. But people missed my content. And as I was kind of learning about how to screen print and what equipment to buy and whatever, I started stumbling across the screen printing videos that were out there. And I was just like, man, like I can do this better. I can do this way better. And I just decided that when I doubled down and bought this equipment, I was like, this is part of my game plan, is to put this on the internet. I'm going to film every bit of this journey and share it with people and show them what I'm learning, what I'm failing at, whatever. And I have a feeling that this can catch on. And it was kind of funny because when I announced that I was going to do this, at the time I had about 20,000 subscribers or so, which is pretty good, but they were all the motorcycle people. And I made a video saying, I'm not going to make motorcycle videos anymore. This is my new journey. I'm going to go down. If you want to follow, sweet. If not, whatever. And half my following overnight disappeared. I had tons of hate comments about it. People tell me this is not going to work. It's fucking stupid. No one wants to watch videos about you printing shirts and all kinds of stuff like that. And I was like, whatever. I put out those first like 3-4 videos and doubled where my subscribership was at prior to that. And I was like, all right, I'm on to something here. And then really started going after it.
Okay, well, I just got to ask this because I've interviewed a lot of business owners. And the one thing I've noticed about the really successful ones is that they have a really strong belief in themselves. And you have that. I mean, listening to your story, it's like I had, I'm going to risk all the money I have on this because I'm going to double down and take a chance on myself. Where do you think that comes from? Do you know where you got that? Because a lot of business owners would like to have that.
I think it came from, well, the fact that I used to do what I did for a living was riding motorcycles and snowmobiles and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
risked my life for a living essentially. And all of that is do or die scenarios kind of thing. But I've always
Mhm.
kind of had that in me since I was a little kid when I started riding and stuff. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the fastest. I don't like doing anything mediocre. Like even if I'm doing something as simple as like playing video games or something like that, like I'm winning. I don't care. I will do anything it takes to win. And if I don't, I will lock myself in a room for 3 months and get so good at that thing that I will destroy whoever beat me when I come back. And it's it's just kind of in my nature. And I've noticed that too with other people that kind of get to those higher levels of success. That's kind of just built into them, and it's a hard thing to explain because like I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if like, nobody told me I was special enough when I was a kid or something like that, but like there's just something burning in me that like I want to be the best or be just incredible at whatever I put my hands on essentially. And I will just stop at nothing until I get there.
I love that. Well, I guess the reason I'm asking this a little bit is I told you before we started recording that I video stalked you a little bit, and you and I have similar issues in that we both deal with mental health problems. And I know for me, one of the things that I deal a lot with depression, and so it tends to make me very cautious about things. So I'm thinking to do what you did for me would freak me out. And I'm just wondering now, uh, because I'm not entirely sure of the timeline, did all the stuff where you were taking all the chances happen before the panic attack and the mental health issues really started kicking in, or was that concurrent? Or
No, all that stuff was prior. It
okay,
had kicked in much prior before I even thought about becoming an entrepreneur of any kind.
okay,
It kind of kicked in towards the tail end of my writing career,
okay.
essentially. I think that's where I was kind of at my like lowest point in general, where just like I don't know, going from like riding in arenas and stadiums and stuff like that, filled with like tens of thousands of cheering people and stuff, and now I'm scooping fucking cat shit out of somebody's ductwork in their house. Like that's
Mm,
that's a pretty big shift. And I was kind of taking some looks at myself, and eventually like it led me down to like just smoking weed all day and smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day and not taking care of myself and eating shitty and drinking all the time and whatever. I just was like, I don't know. I just turned into kind of a bum essentially. And I didn't know how to live outside of that lifestyle I was in before. And I think the combination of all those things was what triggered that first initial like panic attack slash health thing that kind of just sent me down this road of mental health issues eventually.
get
Yeah,
that.
maybe can we maybe unpack that a little bit, Lee, because that's really fascinating. And a lot of people who are very open when they talk about their mental health journey usually kind of describe something similar to what you're describing. There's a point in their life where they hit this trigger or this thing that just like sends them down this journey. So maybe can we back up a little bit and maybe, like I said, unpack that a little bit more. What did you really start to notice at first? What were the things that, when you really started being like, "Uh-oh, something's wrong here. Like what am I dealing with here?" And start to kind of notice that these things were kicking in for you.
Printing United Alliance is the leading member-based printing and graphic arts association in North America with over 70 years of history and more than 20,000 members worldwide. We're here to support printing professionals like you with the tools, resources, and information you need to grow your business, sharpen your skills, and expand your network. Whether you're a printer, supplier, student, or educator, we've built our community to serve everyone who's passionate about the future of print. An Alliance membership is a smart, cost-effective way to stay current on the latest trends, connect with industry leaders, and give your business the competitive edge it deserves. Head over to printing.org/membership to learn more about the memberships we offer. Let's move the printing industry forward together.
It took a little while because like after that first initial thing, I was pretty much good after like a week or two kind of thing. Like I just gone back to work, went back to doing what I was doing, whatever. I did make the decision at that time to quit smoking weed just because I was like, you know what, this is not helping me in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like this maybe contributed to why I was there. So I like at least made one change, and I was good there. But then like a year later, I had another pretty decent little incident, and then like the world kind of shrunk in on me a little bit, where I was like, okay, now this is a thing. So like now I got to avoid this thing, and this thing to keep that from happening. And then like another 6 months down the road happened again, and it's like, okay, now I got to avoid all these other things. And then it just like the more it happened, the more the avoidant tendencies kicked in, and eventually the world just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And you know, that's where panic disorder became panic disorder essentially.
I feel that so much. I really do. I get that
Yeah.
because I think in you keep thinking if I can just stay away from these things, it's not gonna happen anymore. And then it happens anyway, so you eliminate more stuff. I deal with depression. That's my thing. And I have the same thing where I'm like, well, I won't do these things. I'll make my life very narrow so that this doesn't happen. And then it happens. And you're just like, wait, that's not fair. I cut
Yeah.
all this
Well,
stuff out and it happened
that's the
anyway.
biggest thing in mental health issues is people having avoidant tendencies, trying to avoid the
Yeah.
thing that, you know, makes them feel that way. And that's why they get worse and worse and worse
Mhm.
over time. And now I've learned that. And it's funny because, like we just talked about, you know, I have this nonstop, insatiable drive to be the best at stuff, but I have never figured out a way to turn that on when it comes to this. It's always been the opposite. It's been like, you know, I'm going to use that to avoid that ever happening again kind of thing. I'm going to relentlessly not leave my house and like do all this other shit. I'm trying to figure out how to rewire that and turn that into the other thing where I'm attacking it all day kind of thing. And I've made tremendous progress over the past year since I've decided to do that, where I kind of made a video last year and told everybody, you know, this is what's been going on with me for the last like 12 years. It's been this big secret, and said I'm going to do something about it. And that's kind of been what I've been doing for the last, like, it's almost been a year now, about 10, 11 months. And it's night and day difference already.
That video was really powerful, and I will
Mhm.
say, like, so many I mean, I was you shared this, you know, across multiple platforms, but I was reading some of the comments, and so many people in this industry, I really feel like rose up to meet you and, like, support you, and I found that very powerful. What made you decide to share that, like, at that moment?
It was just like a combination of things. You know, I kind of hit a boiling point with all of it. It seemed like I was kind of like getting to, you know, a place where I didn't want to be. I was in a relationship I didn't want to be in. And someone who was, you know, kind of gaslighting me, using that against me a lot of the time. And just like literally using it as like a weapon against me, like triggering me on purpose kind of thing to get their way out of things and so on and so forth. Thankfully, I kicked that goblin out of here. But it was at the aftermath of it just like was resonating in my head of like, you know, why have I not told anyone about this? Why have I kept this a secret for so long? And like, I feel like the weight of keeping it a secret for as long as I have is making it worse. It's making it harder to deal with. And I was just like, because me being like a quote unquote influencer in the industry, I hate that word, but like, you know, people know who I am in this industry, and I get invited to stuff all the time, and people want to bring me here and bring me there and offer to fly me places. And I'm just like, no, 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 I can't do that, and never explain why. You know, you kind of feel like a piece of shit. And just like all these different things, and they all just kind of hit a point where it's like, you know, I can't do this anymore. Like, fuck this. I'm just going to tell everybody what's going on. If they like it, cool. If they don't, they can fuck off. And like, this is just going to make me feel better about this whole scenario. And I'm going to come up with a plan to start fixing it. And it was kind of the same thing as what I did with the print shop initially, how I went on the internet, said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn the boats, and there's no turning back. I'm going to make this work. And it was kind of the same mentality when after I thought about it, I was like, you know, if I put this out there, people are going to expect results. That they're going to be on me about it. They're going to ask about it. Like, this is some personal stuff that people are now going to know, and they're going to want to know what the, you know, how the story is progressing. And so I was like, yeah, that gives me kind of that no turning back type of thing. So I'm going to put it out there for everybody. And then now I have no excuses. I got to make something happen.
I gotta ask this question because I had a podcast for a couple of years where I talked about everything in my life. I talked about being a sexual abuse survivor. I talked about depression. I talked about all this stuff. I had so many people tell me, you shouldn't talk about that stuff. You shouldn't, people are going to want to hire you. People are going to be scared about working with you. People are going to, did you get that? Did people tell you that? Or did you even talk to anybody before you did this?
I didn't know. I just kind of bombed it out there because I was like, you know what,
Okay.
fuck it. I'm a very much like set in my ways kind of person. I'm just gonna do things and
Hmm.
people don't like it, then kiss my ass. But I've seen some negativity out of it for sure.
Hmm.
Cause I mean, like again, being where I'm at in the industry and being like the quote unquote influencer again, I've got a fair amount of haters, right? So
Hmm.
like they obviously use that as ammunition. I don't even know how many messages and comments from them like telling me to kill myself and shit and like all this type of stuff, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Um, but it's funny because like with those people, they think they're doing something, but at the same time, all they're doing is just like
Oh, it's
A, giving me
fuel.
something to laugh at, and B, just fueling me to go like that much harder
Yep.
because I already know I'm doing better than you, and that's why you're pissed off and
Yep.
hating on me. So I'm going to do that much better just to fuck with you even worse.
Yep.
And so that's kind of funny. And then like I've seen mostly this one like is a weird one because it's weird to talk about right now because I'm being interviewed by two women, but like I've seen the most negative feedback from women about it
Really?
by far. Absolutely, yeah.
That's
That's
Otherwise,
interesting. I
really
did not
interesting to
expect
like
that.
know.
outside of the men have been solid. Like other than the haters and whatever, like I've got some, like they've been super super solid. It's mostly like, and it's not so much like all women by any means. It's mostly like entering relationship territory, romantic territory. That's where you see it as a negative because
Oh.
they look at you different. They look at you like maybe you're weak, maybe you're not like a provider, maybe you're not like a protector or something like that, or like I've seen negativity from that front, which is interesting because you'd think like most of the time you guys are nurturers and caring, things like that, right? And you'd think the men would be shitting on me for it, but it's been the exact opposite. And
That.
so that was a interesting little bit
Wow.
of data I've collected over the last little while from this. It's ever since I've been honest about, because it's funny because before that I was never honest about it, never an issue whatsoever. But then as soon as I let people in close on those issues, it's like all of a sudden, even though like nothing has come up regarding those issues, all of a sudden just like problems get invented out of nowhere. And just like, that's weird. So that's been the only real blowback I've seen that has like caused problems for me. But otherwise, pretty good.
It's
That.
fascinating. I wanna bring in a psychologist to, like, unpack that because I think you're
Well,
right. It's natural for women to wanna be like, applaud this kind of effort, you
yeah,
know?
I would have
It is,
assumed
yeah.
that they would be more, but, there's a similar thing with men, though. In, like, my case, they're like, "Oh, you're broken. I'll take care of
Exactly.
you. I'll fix you." So
Right.
I think it's some of it's cultural, I think, a little bit, which it doesn't make it right, but yeah, I'm a little sad about my gender right now.
I know. I'm a
Oddly.
little bit
Yeah, I made a
ashamed.
post about it a while ago where I said, like, a lot of people they want us they like especially regarding men because men don't talk about mental health stuff
No.
very much. And I said, like, they all want us to talk about it, but they're not ready to listen to it just yet.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do in on mental health in general, but particularly when it comes to men, I would agree with that because women get a little more leeway and a little more of a pass maybe, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think
for
that's
sure.
necessarily right at all. I think it should be across the board. But I mean, personally, I know how hard it is to talk about this stuff because I've talked about it too. And I think it's great that you're doing it because we need more men out there saying, you know what? It isn't all macho, I'm tough and I don't feel anything all the time. So,
Yeah, like I mean, a lot of people view it as like emasculating and stuff to talk about or something like that, or like weak or whatever, which is weird. But 'cause I mean, like, I'm masculine as hell. Like I'm a provider. I can kick the absolute shit out of someone if I need to. But at the same time, not everything's going well sometimes,
well,
sometimes you get sad. Sometimes, you
mhm,
get scared. Sometimes there's just shit that comes up, right? Like it's natural, but like we're supposed to stuff that in and never speak about it. And
yeah.
that's kind of the issue, right?
Yeah. Well, here's
Right.
the thing that people that don't deal with mental health issues don't maybe understand. People who survive that crap are way tougher than anybody else.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
you
Yes.
voice
Absolutely. The
is
shit that
said,
I've gone through has made
oh yeah, if you've got a
like
voice,
it's made entrepreneurship so it's like second
yeah,
nature. Like that's the easy part of my day.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 When the voices in your head are going, "Yep, that's it. Cut the cord, it's done," and you still
Yeah.
wake up and keep going on with your day, that's the tough shit, man.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I talk with business owners every day who tell me how hard all this stuff is and whatever. And of course it is. It's very
Yeah.
difficult. But then I compare it to the other stuff I'm dealing with, behind closed doors. I'm like, oh,
You're
fuck,
like,
that was
this
easy.
this crap's
Right.
cake, dude.
Yeah. I'd much rather deal with that all day.
Oh, totally. Big time.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, I just that's an interesting way to look at it though, is it's like, if anybody who's dealing with mental health issues and still getting up and living their life and let alone having the level of success that you've had, they're tough as hell, man.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this the other day too, of like, you know, uh, what's going to happen when I solve this problem kind of
Mhm.
thing. Because I've gotten pretty damn far in the last 7 years by fighting with one hand tied behind my back the whole
Mhm.
time. Imagine when I have both of them,
Oh, you're gonna set
what's
the
going to
world on
happen?
fire.
Like, I was just talking about that with a friend the other day. Like, man, like if I get this figured out, holy shit, people better get out of my way.
Yeah. Right.
I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be amazing.
I know. I was just thinking, I was like, we're ready. Let's go. Um, Kind of going hand in hand with that whole conversation, there's the mental toughness, obviously, and then there's the physical toughness, which is
Yes.
another journey you've been documenting very closely. And it's amazing how much those two go together, right?
Mhm.
So let's shift into that and talk about how your journey with mental health has now gone hand in hand with now your journey with physical health and what that's been like and how that has really become what seems like a very positive piece of your life.
It's been huge for me since I started this whole journey. And it was another one of those situations, as you can tell, I'm a very all in type of person. When I start doing something, I did the same thing like I did with everything else. I've friggin' dumped a boatload of money and built a full blown gym in my house last year to give myself no excuses not to do this. I wasn't like, I'm going to go buy a Bowflex and work out. I was like, no, fuck no. I'm going to build like a commercial gym in my house so that if I have all this money staring at, like, it's sitting right across from me right now. It's, if I'm looking at that, knowing what it costs, like I'm going to use it kind of
Right.
thing. And it's, man, it changed so much for me. It's unreal. And it was another one of those things where I was kind of very neglectful about just like every aspect of physical health. I was kind of going a little too hard into the entrepreneurship side, I think, like trying to just squeeze every minute of the day I could to work to grow this thing and whatever. And the byproduct of that was eating takeout like 2-3 times a day. And I'm not gonna lie, I got fucking fat. I got fat as hell. I'm like 6'2", normally an athletic frame type of thing. I was like 245 pounds. It was crazy. And like I watched back in those videos from like a year or two ago and I'm like, holy shit. Like I can't believe that's the same person I'm looking at now. And, it was weird. It's caused me all kinds of issues. Obviously, like mental health and exercise, they go hand in hand. Like it's a very positive thing. You're releasing positive chemicals and stuff in your brain and your body and whatever, which is just great. But there's also like the self-image part of it that kicks in, which attributes to mental health, which is like the part that's not quantified just yet in terms of science and chemicals and stuff. Um, I just had a shitty self-image and stuff, which was weird because at the time, I had a girlfriend who's a freaking 10 out of 10 and whatever else. And like everything from the outside looked great, but like in the morning, I'm struggling to put my socks on because my gut was in the way. And I was upset about that. And I'm like having trouble sleeping because I'm having sleep apnea and stuff like that and whatever. And it sucked. And so I changed like my diet first. And I did drop like a bunch of weight just from that. Like from like a year, I didn't start working out. I just changed my diet, dropped like down to, I forget what it was, like 210 pounds or something like that. So like 30 pounds just from not eating shitty. And then I decided to put out that video and I said like, this is part of my plan is I'm going to attack physical health because I feel like that's going to be a big contribution to me getting better. And built this gym in my house, started going crazy with it, hired a very expensive trainer to kind of get me started and get going. Once I kind of got everything figured out, I started going on my own, getting things a little more intense, adding more equipment and whatever. And now it's crazy to look back at where I'm at. Like seeing pictures of myself a year apart is nuts, absolutely nuts. And I just feel so much better. Like I have more energy through the day. I can kind of handle stress a lot better because I'm doing hard things every day and whatever else. And like I've added other stuff to the mix too, like cold tub and sauna and whatever else, and just trying to prepare myself for battle as much as possible here. And it's working.
It's like that cyclical nature of like the more shitty you feel mentally, the more shitty you are to your body, and it just like feeds and feeds.
It goes,
You ever
yeah, it's an
cancer?
endless cycle. Your body feels shitty, your brain feels shitty, and then it just keeps going over and over and over again, and you never go anywhere. And then you flip that light switch and reverse it,
Yes.
and it's funny because then you just start feeling better and better and better, and then like you want to do more and do more and do more and whatever. It's weird how that works.
But you did it. Like, you took that relentless attitude and you were just like, you knew you had to do it. You did reverse the wheel, which I think is something a lot of people struggle with because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
It
hard. You
is.
gotta grind.
Oh, it's absolutely difficult, and it's like I don't want to work out. It sucks. It's hard. Like nobody actually,
Thank you.
anyone who tells
Thank
you like
you.
I really enjoy going, like nobody fucking enjoys that. They just tell themselves that to make themselves feel better. Like it sucks. I would much rather do like 10 other things than go to the gym, but like you got to do this stuff. It makes a world of difference, especially when it comes to the mental health and being an entrepreneur too. It's huge when it comes to that because you're doing all these hard things and pushing yourself
Mhm.
further and whatever, and then you can kind of take that with you to your business as well. So it's helped me in so many different ways, and now it's second nature to me. I cannot go a day without it. Last week I was sick. I couldn't work out, and it felt weird. Like I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. Tell me
Yeah.
more about that, about how you've like really applied that mentality and then like this reversal of that wheel to your business. Like where do you see it really playing out in like real numbers for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're seeing huge growth now. Since last year, things here have essentially doubled since I decided to make that video and start really attacking this thing because it's just like I have so much more in me now to put into it. It's insane what we're doing. Like I'm just able to go so much harder, so much longer, whatever, and I'm smarter about it now too. I'm not just like doing things for the sake of doing them kind of thing. I'm like being a lot more tactful about it and like delegating and stuff better and just whatever else and taking on these like bigger tasks and whatever and being able to handle them without stress. And it's just all around has been just such a positive impact for my business.
Well, before we wrap up, because we're almost at time here. Now you've been through this journey. You're still on this journey. What are you going to say to other people out there? Because there are a lot of apparel decorators. There are a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, it's not just limited to decorators. What do you tell them when they're going through this? When they're at the wall you were at. They're at that place where like they feel they can't get out of bed. They can't make this work. It's the rock bottom. What do you say?
The biggest thing that I have felt myself and that I've seen other people talk about is like people are waiting for someone to help. And I'm sorry to tell you, but nobody's coming to save you. The only person that's going to help you is you. You have to make the decision to start doing something about it. I've been depressed to the point that I've locked myself in a bedroom for like a month straight kind of thing. I've been in some very low points. And the only way that has changed is been by forcing myself to get the fuck up and do something about it. And that's basically what you have to do. No matter how bad things are, you got to be the one to make a decision. You got to do something about it. You got to get up, you got to move, whether it's, something huge like throwing a whole gym in your basement, or whether it's just I'm just going to walk to the corner every day. Whatever it is, you got to do something. You start doing something, you start seeing results. And that's all you have to do. Just put in the effort.
Oh man,
Definitely.
that's so good. I love that. Lee, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your story, and for being open about this. Because
Mhm.
as Christine talked about earlier, a lot of people struggle to be open about it. So we appreciate you sharing your journey.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Anytime anyone's listening,
Yeah.
got some questions about it, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Hey, let's share that. What's your contact info? Where do they go?
Just Lee Stuart 38 on any platform you can find me.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lee. And for all of you listeners out there, please do feel free to reach out to all of us. We are here to talk. We're here to make this industry better. Christine, what a fabulous episode as always. I loved it. And I'm
But
really
there's
looking forward
always
to
a gem of wisdom in there, and there were definitely some
oh,
today. I love it.
oh yeah. Plenty for us to take away personally too, I feel like. So
Definitely.
excellent. Well, thanks everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey everyone, this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance.
And this is Christine Shreve, founder of the Women in Garment Decoration Facebook group.
And you're listening to Threads of Change, a new kind of discussion for the printing industry.
It's time to talk about how we can inspire change. Our conversations will feature topics such as how we can build a more diverse environment at trade shows, what resources are needed to support underrepresented communities, and more.
We might be tackling some tough topics, but we're hoping you'll join us on this journey to be the change we want to see in the industry.